Good morning, friends. I am going to talk a little bit today about prayer life, and this is something that I have just tried to work on and grow. I would say it has been one of my weaker areas of my spiritual life, and slowly God has kind of worked me through understanding prayer life and has just kind of brought things to mind that has helped me to kind of develop a more productive and a more meaningful prayer life. And a couple things is how I do it and when I do it and where I do it. All those things I've kind of had to figure out what works for me. But one of my breakthroughs in my prayer life that really helped me years ago is I was looking at the story of Hannah, and that's in First Samuel, and I was looking in the translation of the International Children's Bible. And a couple of the phrases in there really struck me and really kind of like opened my eyes to a meaningful prayer life and what it could tangibly look like. So I want to share those little phrases. They're all out of First Samuel 1, the first chapter, and it's all about the story of Hannah. And Hannah was praying to the Lord for a baby, and her husband had two wives, and the other wife had children, and she would kind of taunt her and kind of break her heart, and she would cry out to the Lord. And Eli was a priest at the temple, and every year they would go up to the temple and they would have this ceremonial time yearly. And in that, Hannah would pray before the Lord. And it says, while Hannah kept praying, Eli was watching her mouth. And then another phrase in there says, she was praying to the Lord in her heart. And then another phrase says, her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. And then at the very end of the story, it says, and the Lord remembered her. The Lord remembered Hannah, and the Lord gave her a baby. And it's a beautiful story of a woman really having a desire in her heart and crying out to God, and God just really answering her desire. But boy, that story, I had been so struggling for years with my prayer life, and that story really struck me. And there was a little tip in there that has helped my prayer life so much, and that is that her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. And so I literally just started practicing that when I was praying to the Lord and trying to have a meaningful prayer time. Often my mind would wander, or I would start, but I would get distracted or whatever. And I started practicing that little tip of moving my lips, even though my voice wasn't heard when I was praying to God. And it almost has the impact of praying with someone else. Because if you're praying with someone else, you're just a lot less inclined to have your mind wander and to lose track of where you're at. In the same way, if you are moving your lips, even though your voice isn't being heard, if you are moving your lips, you will be far more inclined to pay attention to what you are saying before the Lord. So, such a little tiny tip in the Word, but that is the beauty of the Word. The Word can open up things. I wasn't going to that story in particular to get a tip on how to pray. That wasn't my intention that morning many years ago. But that has helped me so much. It was like the Lord just opened up His Word and showed me this practical little step that I could take that would just have a huge impact on my life and have fruit in my prayer life. And often I just come back to that story, those little phrases. While Hannah was praying, Eli was watching her mouth. She was praying in her heart to the Lord. Her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. And then the last beautiful part, and the Lord remembered her. So I hope that encourages you if you're like me and you've struggled in your prayer life. Maybe that little exercise, that little tweak in your prayer life might really bring a good fruit into your life like it did mine. And I hope that's encouraging, and have a great day, and I'll see you next time.